verse 48. John chapter 6, verse 48. Jesus said, I am that bread of life. Your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness and are dead. This is the bread which cometh down from heaven, that a man may eat thereof and not die. I am the living bread which came down from heaven. If a man eat of this bread, he shall live forever. And the bread that I will give is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world. Amen. My message is Jesus is the bread of life. Jesus is the bread of life. If you in John chapter 6, so back up to verse 24, and I'm going to just read these verses and just make a comment on the way, and then we're going to have our communion service. So I'm going to start reading in John chapter 6, verse 24. And I'm just going to read it all the way to verse 51, I believe it is. And I'm going to just make a few comments along the way as I'm reading, because we're going to have our communion service. But in John chapter 6, verse 24, Jesus said, this is after Jesus had fed the multitude. This is the next day. The people had a good fish fillet sandwich, and they was looking for another one. It says, when the people therefore saw that Jesus was not there, neither his disciples, they also took shipping and came to Capernaum, seeking for Jesus. And when they had found him on the other side of the sea, they said unto him, Rabbi, when camest thou hither? Jesus answered them and said, verily, verily, I say to you, you seek me not because you saw the miracles, but because you did eat of the loaves and were filled. Jesus said, you're not looking for me because you saw the miracle. You're looking for me because you ate and were filled. And the reason Jesus left was they wanted to force him to be king. Verse 27. Jesus said, labor not for the meat which perisheth, but for that meat which endureth unto everlasting life, which the Son of Man shall give unto you. For him hath God the Father sealed. Then said they unto him, what shall we do that we might work the works of God? Jesus answered and said unto them, this is the work of God, that ye believe on him whom he hath sent. They said therefore unto him, what sign showest thou then, that we may see and believe? What dost thou work? Our fathers did eat manna in the desert, as it is written, he gave them bread from heaven to eat. Then Jesus said unto them, verily, verily, I say unto you, Moses gave you not that bread from heaven, but my Father giveth you the true bread from heaven. Amen. The manna was not the true bread. The manna was bread from heaven, but it was physical. Remember, the physical comes first, then the spiritual. The manna was the physical bread. It did keep them alive in the desert. But the spiritual comes next, which is Jesus, which is the true bread. Verse 33, for the bread of God is he which cometh down from heaven, and giveth life unto the world. Then said they unto him, Lord, evermore give us this bread. And Jesus said unto them, I am the bread of life. Amen. Jesus said, I'm the bread. They said, where is this bread? Give us to us. Jesus said, I am the bread. I'm the bread of life. I'm the true bread. He that cometh to me shall never hunger, and he that believeth on me shall never thirst. But I said unto you that ye also have seen me, and believe not. All that the Father giveth me shall come to me, and him that cometh to me I will in no wise cast out. Amen. Jesus said, all that the Father has given me, they will come to me. And when they come, I will not reject them. Verse 38, for I came down from heaven, not to do my own will, but the will of him that sent me. And this is the will, and this is the Father's will which has sent me, that of all which he has given me, I should lose nothing, but shall raise it up at the last day. And this is the will of him that sent me, that every one which seeth the Son and believeth on him may have everlasting life, and I will raise him up at the last day. The Jews then murmured at him, because he said, I am the bread which came down from heaven. And they said, is not this Jesus, the son of Joseph, whose father and mother we know? How is it then that he saith, I came down from heaven? Jesus therefore answered and said unto them, murmur not among yourselves. No man can come to me except the Father which hath sent me draw him, and I will raise him up at the last day. It is written in the prophets, and they shall be all taught of God. Every man, therefore, that hath heard and hath learned of the Father cometh unto me. Not that any man has seen the Father, save he which is of God. He has seen the Father. Truly, truly, verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me hath everlasting life. I am that bread of life. Your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness and are dead. This is the bread which cometh down from heaven, that a man may eat thereof and not die. I am the living bread which came down from heaven. If any man eat this bread, he shall live forever. And the bread that I will give is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world. Now remember the Passover, when Moses gave them the instructions to prepare the Passover. He said every family was to have a lamb, and they would prepare that lamb, And they were to eat all of that lamb. And so that's what they did. They ate the Passover lamb. I believe Jesus is making a connection between himself and in a, on the one hand, we know that nobody at that time was physically eating the body of Jesus, because they did the same thing at the Last Supper when Jesus was present. But now Jesus is gone, and what we are doing is what they did on the night of the Passover. They ate the Passover lamb. Moses said, eat all of it. Don't waste any of it. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to eat the Passover lamb, so to speak. Starting again at verse 51, he said, I am the living bread, which came down from heaven. If any man eat of this bread, he shall live forever. And the bread that I will give is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world. The Jews therefore strove among themselves, saying, how can this man give us his flesh to eat? Then Jesus said unto them, verily, verily, I say unto you, except ye eat the flesh of the Son of Man, and drink his blood, ye have no life in you. Whoso eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood hath everlasting life, and I will raise him up at the last day. For my flesh is meat indeed, and my blood is drink indeed. Father has sent me, and I live by the Father. So he that eateth me, even he shall live by me. This is that bread which came down from heaven. Not as your fathers did eat manna and are dead. He that eateth of this bread shall live forever. These things said he in the synagogue as he taught in Capernaum. Amen. Now we're going to prepare for our communion service the same way that we always do, which is to just think about what we just read. Well, first of all, to confess. We want to confess and just clean out, wash our feet before the Lord, because it's simple to confess. Jesus said, if you confess your sin, God is faithful and just to forgive you and to cleanse you from all unrighteousness. So we want to wash our feet before we go to the table of the Lord. And after we have washed our feet, we want to think about what we just read. And we want to also think about what Jesus did when he died on the cross for us and the connection between the two. You know, communion is really mystical. And I rather just leave it mystical than try to explain everything. I rather that it be something that is in some way, it is spiritual, it is mystical, it is amazing. Because Jesus said, we can eat his flesh and drink his blood and commune with him and fellowship with him and be one with him. And in our doing this, it brings us life. It's a grace. For a long time, over many years, the church has seen communion as a form of grace, as a form of power. And that's why I say it's mystical. We can't just understand everything there is to understand about it. So let us reflect on what we just read. Let's reflect on what Jesus did on the cross. And then the last thing is to just thank God for what he's did, what he has done, and to thank God for what he is doing in our lives. So let's just take a few minutes to do that.